Do you want to know how long it takes to rank on the first page of Google search results? That's what we're covering in today's episode of SEO Snacks. SEO Snacks! Hello and welcome to SEO Snacks, bite-sized SEO tips and hacks that you can implement straight away. My name's Janelle, I'm an SEO consultant from ContentQueen, and today I'm going to go over how long you can expect it to take for your website to rank on the first page of Google, or number one in Google for that matter. I'm going to look into research that was conducted by Ahrefs, which is an SEO company, to help disclose this information, and also I'm going to draw on my own personal experience having worked in SEO for the last about 5 years. So let's get into it. But first, since this is called SEO Snacks, snacks are naturally involved, and I have until the end of my snack to tell you my SEO hack. So let's see what my snack of the week is. And this week's snack is a Whittaker's chocolate slab. This was nominated by D. Macaulay, so I don't know your first name, but thank you so much for the nomination. I did try and find your first nomination, but unfortunately I couldn't find it in New Zealand anywhere. I've been looking for the last month, and it was going to cost $80 to ship it from overseas, and that's a lot of beer, so I hope you don't mind I took your second option. So thank you for the nomination. If anyone else would like to nominate a snack, leave it in the comments and it'll feature in a future episode. So let's go. Peanut slabs are like a New Zealand delicacy. So, how long can you expect it to take for your website or a web page to rank on the first page of Google search results, or number one for that matter? Well, let's look at a study conducted by Ahrefs, which is this SEO software company. They analysed 2 million keywords and pulled the data for the top 10 positions in Google for each one of those keywords, and they then analysed to see whether there are any similarities between these web pages. So what did they find? They found that the average top 10 ranking pages were about 2 years old on average. That's not necessarily the domain that's 2 years old, but that's the page itself and when it was published. They also found those that ranked number one were about 3 years old on average, which is an old web page, right? They found that pages that got on the first page of Google within a year were between 2 and 6 months, not years. They were between 2 and 6 months old, and they were also high domain, high authority websites, which means they were big brands essentially, like your Amazons and that sort of thing, which makes sense, right? So what we draw from this information is the best performers were websites that were a bit older, they've been around for a long time, they had high domain authority, which means that they had a lot of links and things pointing to them, and they were spoken about a lot on the web itself, and also that they were big trusted brands. So this isn't really news to us. We know that if we've got a small business or website, it's going to be very hard for us to outrank the big competitors like Amazon. So let's look a bit deeper into what you can actually do as a newer website or a smaller brand to rank on the first page of Google, and how long you can expect that to take. Oh, yummy! First and foremost, let's look at the keyword you want to rank for. Is it your brand name, or is it a highly commercial keyword that's got a lot of competition? Your brand name, you should be able to rank for that if you're a new website, say, between 3 and 6 months. If you don't, you might need to have a look at your website because there might be some underlying issues here. But you should be able to rank for your brand name, providing it's a semi-unique brand name. That's just saying though that your brand name isn't a word that's used for a lot of other things, or is the name of something else. In that sense, it might be quite difficult for you to rank for it. So just be mindful that if you've got a unique brand name, it shouldn't take you long to rank for that. But if your brand name actually describes or is the name of another service or object, then that will take you a while to rank for. I can't remember what I was saying. Alright, but what about a keyword that's got commercial intent behind it? Say, my brand name is ContentQueen, and that took me about 6 months to rank for because there are already a lot of other content queens out there. But what about SEO Consultant? That's a lot more competitive because a lot of other brands would like to rank for that search term because it's got commercial intent. Because someone searching for an SEO consultant would probably like to be hiring an SEO consultant, unless they're doing their research about what it takes to become one. But SEO Consultant is a commercial keyword, and that's more difficult to rank for than my own brand name, which is ContentQueen. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's going to take a lot longer to rank for keywords that are non-branded than branded keywords if you're a new website in particular. But how much longer is it going to take? Well, according to the study, we can expect it to take about 2 to 3 years. What can we do to help us rank higher faster? Well, we can think about building our domain authority, which means building links to your website from other websites, forming partnerships, conducting studies and putting research out there, getting links from news websites, getting featured in articles, and that sort of thing. That's not easy, that's digital PR, but that's essentially what's going to help build your authority in Google's eyes and also your ideal customer's eyes. Next one is the age of your website. If you're a new website, it's going to take Google a while to trust you and to work out what you're relevant for, what you do, and what value you provide to its searchers. So 1-year-old website is going to take longer to rank for search terms than a website that's been around for 5 years. In this sense, there's nothing you can do to speed up the age of your website. Time passes as time passes. So just take this into consideration that if you're a new website, it's just going to take you longer to rank. The next one is your competition. Who are you realistically up against? Have a look at your current competition that's beating you in Google search results for your current keywords that you want to target. What do they have in common? What are they doing better than you? And have a look using the Moz bar, how old their websites are, how many links they've got pointing to them, and that will give you an indication of what you need to do to beat them. The next one is your content quality and relevance. Is your content what the person actually wants to see and highly relevant to what they've typed into Google? If not, then you've got a relevance issue. If your content doesn't actually answer or provide a solution to the searcher's problem that they type into Google to find you, then there's no way you're going to rank highly. You need to make sure that the keyword or search term you want your page to be found for fully answers the question or provides an actual valuable solution to their problem. If it's not, Google's not going to want to show you to that person because you're not actually going to answer their query or provide a solution to their problem. Remember, Google is a search engine. People are searching for answers, so if you don't provide the answer, you're not going to get featured on the first page because they're not going to have a good experience when they land on your page. And lastly, think about search intent. If someone types how-to into Google, they're not going to want to land on a commercial page that wants them to purchase something. They're going to land on a blog post that's a how-to guide that provides the best solution to what they're searching for. Here's another example. If someone types hire SEO consultant into Google, they're going to want to see a page that provides them with an SEO consultant, what they do, how they serve them, FAQs, next steps, how much it's going to cost, and everything they need to know about hiring one. Think about the intent behind the search. Is it a commercial intent? Do they just want to see a category page with lots of products they can purchase? Or is it an informational intent where they just want to find out some more information about something? They're not in the commercial intent sort of phase yet. They're just doing their research. Just think about it because your content needs to accurately reflect their search and their intent. If it doesn't, you've got no hope of ranking for it. So what's the takeaway here? Be patient. If you're a new website, it's going to take you 2 to 3 years to rank for a keyword that you really want to rank for, other than your brand name, on most occasions, if that keyword is highly competitive. So what we need to understand is that SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. And we need to be putting in the work behind the scenes over time because that's how we build our brand, our reputation, and our authority in Google's eyes. You can't just chuck up a blog post and then expect it to rank 2 years later. You need to be creating lots of great blog posts that match the keywords and search terms people are typing into Google. And you also need to be building links and authority on your website because otherwise you're never going to reach that level and you're always going to be outranked. So it's probably not the news that you really wanted to hear, but the takeaway, as I said, is be patient, put in the work, build your brand over time, and then the results are going to follow. Thank you so much for watching this episode of SEO Snacks. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and also if you'd like to nominate a snack, leave it in the comments and it will feature on a future episode. So I thank you again for watching. I hope you'll join me next week when I actually take you through how to find out what you're ranking for in Google. So please subscribe, hit the bell button so you don't miss a future episode, and I look forward to speaking with you then. Thank you, bye. SEO Snacks.